close. Oh, well, that was a good guess of where the camera's supposed to be. Because I don't really know where to put it. Just left it. I think we're on. I think we're live.
Are we?
Possibly. I'll tell you in a minute when it comes up on my phone. We'll just sit here in silence until it does. No, we're live. Welcome to the programme, old viewer. There's no one watching yet because they don't know we're on. But so we can put all the libelous stuff in now.
The stuff that we were talking about before, that we can't mention.
All the swearing and stuff. Let me just tweet out the link to people, and then we'll start.
But
properly.
What if the best bit is the first 5 minutes and nobody's listening?
Well, it usually is, isn't it? I mean, no one's watching anyway. We could lie about our viewing figures, but no one will know.
Last I heard, it was about 150,000 each episode, wasn't it?
Now we've got 1.5 billion people because I'm using the Rugby Union calculator, which is accurate. If you believe 1.5 billion people are watching the Rugby Union World Cup, then I've got a bridge to sell you, or at least a Subbuteo set.
Or possibly... We'll come back to that in a minute.
Karsten's here. Oh, yes, we will, won't we?
Talking of which...
welcome to the podcast.
Welcome to the podcast. Well, if Karsten's here, we can start.
I've got to say, well done, Dewsbury. Because otherwise I'd have to give someone their money back for watching. The problem with the Dewsbury thing is, well done to them. He's A, a bat Sheffield. And B, they only had 3 subs. We've got to stop normalising this lionising teams with, they didn't have any players. But we'll talk about the championship in a bit.
Duty of care.
Yeah. What were you going to say, Phil, about...
I was going to say that in both hemispheres, it was a fantastic weekend for Rugby League. I thought for the men's game, the women's game, wheelchair, so much good things to talk about. But I think we have to start with the most pressing issue of the weekend.
Go on.
Are we suing Sky Sports for using our set?
I know, it's ridiculous, wasn't it? So I put now we've got pictures back because last week we had technical issues. This week we don't have technical issues. So.
Nor do we have James Child.
No, he's not here. He's not well.
Unless he's in the little boy's room.
Where's images?
Wish him better.
Yeah, if you didn't see, this was Friday night, wasn't it?
Friday night, the build up to the big game on Sky, Salford and Leigh. We've got
image, that's what I was looking for.
Analysis with Paul Rowley sat in front of a table that is identical almost to ours, other than the fact that we've got a kicker.
A lot of rubbish on it, yeah. Not Paige Travis, we'll share that later. That's not it.
Not chocolate.
That's not it, no. Oh, what I've done is I've cut. I know I need to go pictures. I think
this will go down well on the podcast.
I look really good on the podcast. Did I take a picture of it? No, I didn't. So yeah,
you tweeted it.
I did, but I tweeted it with us. Look, this is a picture.
You did.
This is us last week, but it's not us last week. It's a few weeks ago. But Paul Rowley was sat behind a Subbuteo table, and I cut the table out and put him on us. But you can tell it's different because I've got rubbish thing. So yeah, he was there, wasn't he?
Just thought it was
gimmick infringement.
An absolute scandal.
That's us. That's our gimmick. So don't be stealing that, Sky. Fail to prepare to fail, says Phil. I forgot that Phil was going to mention that because he didn't tell me. Shall I show you my picture of Paige Travis as well?
Yes, I liked your picture.
So St Helens said, if you're a child, well, they didn't say exclude if you are a child. They just said,
the
send in your
implication
pictures.
was,
draw a picture and send it in via email. Well, I just tweeted. I did a picture of Paige Travis. There it is. It's I think that looks like Paige Travis.
Winking.
Yeah. Helpfully, I put Paige Travis at the bottom so people knew who it was. I put Home Bargains on because I thought, please Saints, put the sponsor on. So I won't put Betfred on because it's for the kids. So that looks like Paige Travis winking, I think.
And Jovi Cunningham retweeted it.
Where's Tony Hart when you need him? Well, he's not alive anymore. So I put the gallery music on. So now I think I'm an artist. I could do any of these pictures because basically all I did was just trace it, and it looks nothing like her, but.
I thought that was clip art.
Yeah. So that was that. And while we're here, let me
get all of this out of the way.
All the visual stuff at the start of the programme. Desktop, not an advert for videos, but please welcome our new sponsor, Bill Hudden's Meats. If you are poor and your purse is slender, try Bill Hudson's meat. It is cheap and tender. So
it sort of sums us up.
Bill Hudson's meat, yeah.
Cheap and tender.
Bill Hudson's meat there.
That's us.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that. That's enough tomfoolery, isn't it? Where do we start then this week? There's been no news, has there? Not necessarily, or...
Well, Wakefield's signing somebody in a minute.
Yeah, so we'll find out at 7 o'clock who they're signing.
But then it is 7 o'clock on any given evening.
Matthew Ashworth's off to Oldham. It's not been announced yet, but he is.
No, but
they're signing everyone.
Terrific servant.
Yeah. Who else did they sign this week? Adam Milner.
Adam Milner.
Former Outward Grange star, Adam Milner.
You're covering the chocolate, so we
can
can
eat
it.
We're going to eat the chocolate in a bit. We'll do a taste test.
We wanted to save it for James, but
it's 6 o'clock now, so everyone's coming in, so that's good.
So
far, it was a great weekend.
We've sued Sky
Yeah.
for using our set. We've complimented the rugby for the weekend, which was brilliant.
Rugby was good.
We paid tribute to Dewsbury for the result of the weekend.
Well done, Dewsbury.
We congratulated Ben Thaler at the
Have
end
we?
of... Oh no, we haven't.
But
we should.
But well done, Ben Thaler.
Well done, Ben Thaler.
Iconic, apparently. I don't know why he's iconic, but you know, just refereed. He didn't even do funny jokes like Rob Hicks. We need to get him back on the podcast because I hear he's going on a rival podcast.
Who?
Rob Higgs.
Is he?
Yeah.
Is there a rival podcast? We don't have rivals.
No,
do we? We just do
unrivaled. Like the BBC.
We just do this for fun.
Yeah. Cheese juice from a Fev fan, says Les. More than Dewsbury.
Yes.
And chocolate. We need to try.
Yes, because clearly, if Dewsbury hadn't come up,
yes,
with
Sheffield
their
would be in the
result
playoff,
this
wouldn't they?
yes, and Featherstone wouldn't be.
The Mark Aston derby. Let's just start in the championship. Let's get the championship out of the way. Then we'll go on to the Super League playoffs.
What a great weekend it was in Rugby League this weekend.
Barrow 24, Widnes 26. Bradford 50, Swinton 0. Bradford wants some more money. Give some money.
Which is a shame for Swinton because they're now in position 12, which means they have a playoff to come with the winners of Keighley and Hunslet.
So Keighley and Hunslet playing the League One playoff final because Hunslet beat Rochdale 46-26. Do they play off for a trophy in the League One, not actual winning anything final? Because they then, as you say, have to play Swinton in a couple of weeks to actually...
Does anybody get medals from that game against Swinton?
I don't know. Dewsbury 28, Sheffield 8. Sheffield season has completely fallen apart since the Mark Aston has been suspended thing. So hopefully that gets sorted sooner rather than later. Because they'll need to know what they're doing next season.
Yep.
Toulouse 64, Batley 16, Wakefield 72, Doncaster 6. The ridiculous thing coming out of this is I didn't realise this until everyone tweeted about it last night, Trinity Heritage and the Rugby League record keepers. Max Jarrett could break a record which has stood for 60 years or something.
Yep. 1956-57 season.
He needs 12 more points to level Lewis Jones's 496.
But the astonishing thing would be if he went over 500.
He's got
no
482.
player has broken the 500 barrier. That would be astonishing.
And there's potentially two games left. It could be just one. They could lose in the semis, which would be very Wakefield if they did. Whitehaven 23, Halifax 20. So again, well done Whitehaven. I think Kyle Amell's retired from coaching now, so well done to him.
And actually, as the final table worked out, it was only points difference that got them away from
the playoff thing. I don't think they'd have won by 200 points though, which was a shame.
That was the only trouble.
Yeah.
But he couldn't have done a lot more in the time that he's been in charge.
And they haven't announced the Championship Coach of the Year nominations yet, have they?
No, but we also need to say we wish all the best to Whitehaven's captain.
Yes.
Who, is
fractured vertebrae.
Fractured vertebrae in his neck.
York 16, Featherstone 6. So,
which was the game of the day.
So Mark Applegarth, Championship Coach of the Year. 16-6, half year. Yes, and now York play Widnes on Saturday and Bradford play Featherstone on Sunday. To play for the Peter Fox Cup again.
Two very interesting games, particularly if the weather is like it is now, and the pitch is mudded over.
And amazingly, York play on the Saturday, not playing at the same time as the women, because usually they manage to cock it up and have them playing at the same time, don't they? But mind you, football's worse for that kind. I know bag the Rugby League for their fixture schedule, but football's worse. I mean, they had Arsenal Man City the other week play in the afternoon, and Man City versus Arsenal women in the morning, but in completely two different cities. So well done to Wakefield, who finished top of the table and get a bye week, as do Toulouse. who will weight the winners of this week's games the week after. We'll see what happens then. League winners mentioned, Hunslet beat Rochdale. So,
which was a reversal of the game that they played a fortnight ago.
And as we said, the playoffs don't work well, do they, in that sense? But well done to Hunslet. Their hopes and dreams remain of promotion on the field if they can beat Keighley and beat Swinton.
They are still sailing the seas before them.
And if they lose... Wouldn't it be ironic if they lost and their IMG points would have put them in the championship?
Well, this is what I don't understand about
Barrow have now done theirs now.
Having a playoff game between Swinton and Keighley. Because surely we've moved to grading, so the team that should be in the championship would be the one that had the highest grading, not necessarily winning a manufactured playoff game on the field. How can you institute grading but not see it all the way through?
Winners get to play goal. No, losers get to play goal.
Goal formally launched tomorrow.
Can they change their name? There's no history to
like the Goal Goalies.
Goal Goalies. What else is famous? What's Goal famous for?
It's got a bridge.
Goal halfway between York and...
It was a port.
Cass.
It was an important port.
I had a great swimming pool when I was a kid. I know that because Selby's was shut because it had cockroaches in.
The Goal Freestylers.
Yeah. Goal Adlingtons. She's a swimmer. She likes rugby league. I don't think she likes goal. I don't know if she likes goal or not, but she's famous. She's on the telly. She was at the World Cup draw.
She was.
So I remember seeing her thinking, I know you. And nodding my head and I
sat near her.
And I didn't know her. She's a famous swimmer. In the Women's Super League, Featherstone played Leigh on Sunday for a place in the Super League, which is not apparently on telly, but the Keighley Hunslet game's on the Sportsman. So,
but the game between Leigh and London
was on the... Not our league, it was on the Rugby League's
RFL YouTube
channel. There's no strategy, is there?
So maybe they'll put the Featherstone Leigh game on. Which sounded... I mean, I don't know if you saw any of that. I did see a lot of Rugby League this weekend, but I didn't watch...
I watched the end. I fell asleep
the Leigh
on
London
Sunday.
Game. It sounded very dramatic.
I gave blood on Sunday morning and then fell asleep.
Did you have a biscuit afterwards?
I did. Club biscuit, so give blood.
Mint?
No, don't like mint. Orange club. Yeah. You can't get the just biscuit clubs anymore.
Can you not?
Before this turned into BBC local radio. Which I thought, in fairness, Sky's coverage of the Salford and Leigh game had. If Salford season was a movie, what would it be? Expect 800 words on that in a magazine next month because I've got nothing else to write about.
Colin from accounts.
Oh yes, I've got it on my thing. Andy says, because he's a Warrington fan, Warrington fans screwed over. We can't get tickets for KR. Only giving 1,100.
Sold out. All gone. But that's because the capacity of Sewell Group Craven Park is was it 9,500?
They put some extra seats in, haven't they? So can they? Can you get a?
Well,
is there somewhere you can perch over and you watch from the river?
Can you not beam it back to the Halliwell Jones and at least have a?
Simon Moran must be able to get a satellite dish or something. I mean, it's on telly.
Although Warrington Saints, which was possibly the game of the season,
spoiled for you, unfortunately.
Not really. Wasn't a sellout.
No, 12,111. He says in the
deserved to be.
Well, surely Hull KR don't usually give out their attendance figures, so they've got to give it out on Friday because they've got to say Saturday rather because it's a sellout. No, he's there.
Friday
no,
night,
they're Friday. Well, we'll see, won't we? We'll see. Maybe they can find some extra tickets. But as Phil says, why don't they beam it back to the Halliwell Jones and they can all stand? You can all stand in the stand and go away
and joyously celebrate or commiserate with each other.
The Burgess effect. The Burgess effect is in full effect. When I go to the thing on Monday, what am I going to ask these people? Especially if Sam Burgess.
Depends who you're asking.
Well, I know Sam Burgess is there, and I said, "Well, what's his experience? Why has he got this job?" And then I've got to go up to him and say, "Well done, Sam. You got to another final."
Some people said.
Yeah, some people on the internet said you shouldn't have got the job. I didn't say that. No. Before someone tells him. Ian Boldsworth forgot I managed to forget this was on. He's just going to upset me, isn't it? Possibly.
No, I thought Saints were heroic.
Well, now is that a negative mindset, and it's a loser's mindset because as heroic as they may have been, they lost and they've won nothing this
Yeah.
year and they're rubbish now.
Yeah, they're not rubbish now. I think, again, what you want going into whatever your last game of the season is, some hope for season ticket holders to say, I want to stick with this team. I can see that there's some things happening that are going to be worthy of my support next year. And I thought Saints, you can look at individual incidents in the game. The unfortunate thing...
They need a centre, don't they?
Well, the unfortunate
Another
thing
centre.
for Mark Percival was that he kicks the most astonishing touchline goal to take us into golden point extra time, and then kicks the ball out on the full, which basically gives the position for Warrington to win the game. And that is the cruel nature of sport. But no, I thought Saints were really, really good, contributed to a magnificent game. And if I was a Saints fan and I was looking at some of the youngsters that they were bringing through, some of the players that they've signed for next year, I'd be going, if we can have a little bit more of that, we're not quite dead in the water.
We've got to be nice, you see, because there's too many naughty people out there, nasty people out there.
No, I think this...
like writing articles about who are the worst signings and stuff, that's not good. But if I said...
This is the weekend where we celebrate Rugby League.
If I say, because you mentioned season tickets, if Saints say that player you don't like, he's not coming back, they might sell more season tickets based on that. Yeah. But I don't know who that is. So
I don't think he will be coming back.
No, you wouldn't think so, would you?
No.
Hello, James. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you're all right. Mate, are you there on Sunday? Will you be at the women's grand final? We'll talk about that later. What a game. Warrington versus St Helens. Great that it was on the telly. Shame it was up against Strictly, but no one watches Strictly.
And the wheelchair semi-final.
And the wheelchair
if you were
semi-final.
trying to avoid the result.
Great if you backed Maddie Ashton to score in both halves. That was greatest game I've ever seen. Warrington, though, they must have learned something from losing at Wembley, that they were able to somehow dig deep and win this very tight game against a rival side who they've got not the best record of in big games, in big semi-finals, but they did it. They won.
They did, but they also had in George Williams the ultimate big game play. That was an 80 minutes by an individual that almost took his team by the scruff of the neck and could not have done any more to ensure that they won. I thought his interview afterwards on Sky was superb. That we've got a lot to do. I think he's right. If they do play like that against Hull County, they do give away 10-point advantage. They're going to find that very hard to get back. But he was absolutely sensational. The pass that he put out for Ashton's try just before half time, and that was a turning point in the game. Brilliant. Absolutely, you need people like that. I think we said when they signed John Bateman, how's he going to fit in? You just need people like that out there in games like that refuse to give in no matter what the score. And Warrington just had a tiny bit more than Saints did in that regard. But I genuinely thought, sitting there as a neutral, if we cannot sell this, then we're not doing our job properly.
And you've got the great Matty Ashton story, haven't you, coming from almost obscurity to now on the verge of...
That's not a nice thing to say about Swinton.
From Rochdale Mayfield, almost on the verge of obscurity, to
go to Australia, to back himself, to come back and be one of the deadliest finishers in the competition.
Will he be one of the first names on Sean Wayne's team sheet? We don't know, because you've got there's a plethora, a miasma of wingers.
Sport for choice.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought, talking of wingers in that game, Tommy Makinson drops the ball from the kickoff, but then scores two. That's more than making up for the error that you've made. And again, knowing that could, and in fact did turn out to be his last game for a club that means so much to him. I thought he was magnificent for Saints as well. There were so many great performances. Darryl Clark against his former club was outstanding. It was just sit back in your chair if you don't support either of the teams and just enjoy this sport for the best of what it can be. And I, even though I knew the score when I actually watched the game, thank you to those people who...
It wasn't me, by the way.
Who were going, do you know it's gone to golden point extra time? Well, no, I was trying to avoid the score. But brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed Friday night's game as well between Salford and Leigh. Different sort of game, but for tension and admiring the skills of the people that play this game. You got Edwin Apape on Friday night, and you're just going, wow. And then George Williams on Saturday night, wow. So many, watching the NRL semi-finals. You know, you're looking at, I don't know, Nathan Cleary putting in just the most ridiculously virtuoso performance for Penrith, and then, you know, Cameron Munster arguably again just playing the game at his pace for Melbourne, and bringing the best out of Ryan Pappenhausen and Harry Grant. We've been spoilt this weekend. Josh Butler coming off the bench and destroying Wigan in the wheelchair.
What's brilliant is that, of course, people will say, well, the players in my era were better. We know that in 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 years, or however long Rugby League goes on for, people will be having these same conversations about the players they see, because there'll be another Nathan Cleary, there'll be another George Williams or whatever, because there'll always be another one coming along that will be more exciting and will have learned this and do this. And it's so great to be in an era where you can just sit back and watch and go, it's quite good. It's quite good. This Rugby League thing, it's quite good. It's not a shame that not more people watch it, but at least we're enjoying it, and they might enjoy it, and they might catch it somehow.
More than that, the quality aspect. You know, we can talk long and hard and will, no doubt, about loop fixtures and how many games and all that kind of thing, and it's all very valid. But when we get it right, when we start to get to the point of the season where teams of equal standing are playing each other in games that are incredibly meaningful, this is why we love the sport. It's not about whether your preferred team is in it or not. You can sit down and watch a game like Warrington and Saints and go, that's why I love this game. And it was the same with Salford and Leigh. And you know, the fact that Leigh stayed in the game in the first half when they were absolutely battered, and then came out in the second and found a way to win it. That's just sport at its absolute best.
Saints still showed enough to where you think they should be better next year. Not that there's no guarantees on anything.
I again, people hate the word transition, and I know that the one person who won't use it is Paul Wellens. But when you do lose James Roby, to a lesser extent, with the greatest respect to him, Louis McCarthy-Scarswell, because he was so important to the heartbeat of that team. When you lose players like that, you don't know how much that's going to have an effect until you start playing without them. They have had a huge amount of injuries. When coaches change, again, they want to change their style and their style. There's always going to be reasons why it's so hard to stay at that level.
The young, who's the young hooker that's coming through at Saints?
Jake Burns.
You get the feeling that this signing of Darryl Clark was perfect, because you can't just throw him in, Jake Burns, now and become the next James Roby.
You need to buy
it could be in.
Well, and the other thing as well, we've had the nominations for the Young Player of the Year. You know, George Delaney, the Saints prop, is quite rightly nominated. Yeah, but
all forwards, aren't they?
Yes.
Which is,
and all from Lancashire.
Because we usually talk about these awards, and we'll talk about Michael Lewis in a bit, but usually it's halfbacks, or fullbacks, or people who do wingers because they do something flashy. But there's three forwards.
Yeah, Matty Nicholson from Warrington, who his potential has already been snapped up by Canberra, and Junior Nasemba, who I think most people would say, if there was a book for who's going to win that award, would be the favourite. Been absolutely
but his 6-year contract at
yes, which again I was talking.
He's got a big buyout clause on.
Talking to someone who has been an agent in the game for a long time, saying that it's psychologically very important for Wigan, great for the competition, not going to stop an NRL club coming in if they really want him.
They've
within
got money.
That 6 years.
They've got money.
And saying, here's a transfer fee. Would you like to accept it? But brilliant, you know, three great youngsters, and Delaney is one of the reasons why Saints fans shouldn't be too down on their team. They still are the only side in the Super League era who have made the playoffs every single year, and they were a point away from going to Wigan this Saturday.
Wow.
It's, you know, at the start of the season, if you'd have said that's how they're going to do, I think a lot of realistic Saints fans would have said it's probably not been what we wanted to see all year, but that's about where we would have expected ourselves to be. Ian may well say different, but I think he's enough of a realist to know that 1 point off a semi-final ain't bad.
Just keep your new signees out of the pub next year. That's or if they're in the pub, just make sure they behave. Salford Leigh was a different kind of game.
It
Salford
was.
6, Leigh 14. I said this last week and I stick by it. Whatever Paul Rowley did the week before had no bearing on what happened this week because the players who he wanted to rest needed the rest. So if they'd played the week before, then you've got that factor, but he rested them. They weren't going to go in undercut to a semi-final because they played how many rounds of Super League already, and so it doesn't matter.
What was interesting was that half-time, I honestly thought that having that week's rest was going to be to Salford's advantage. That Leigh had put so much into defending in that first half that the players that had had a little bit extra time to prepare for it, I thought that would weigh, which again is another huge credit to Leigh, that it was they who were dominant in the second half. My only concern for Leigh is the players that they've now lost. So, clearly Frankie Holton and Josh Charnley, who thankfully, although he went to hospital, wasn't seriously injured. And Kai O'Donnell is still a doubt as we sit here on Monday. I think they hopefully may play, but I'm pretty sure that you've got to have all your best players on board if you're going to beat Wigan at Wigan, and they've had a week off. So it was a costly win for Leigh, but a magnificent win.
Probably the most positive thing for Salford out of it, 10,867. Biggest crowd in a dog's age at Salford.
Well, the biggest ever rugby league attendance at that stadium.
Now it's kicking on from that.
Well, the big issue now is how many of those people turned up that hadn't been before. How do you get them to go back again? Now, certainly the game that they saw, you might think, I want to have another taste of this. But the big thing for Salford now is how can we get near to that figure on a regular basis for ordinary league games, and that's actually more of a challenge than bowing out of the competition, which they to finish fourth is an astonishing achievement.
I don't know how long Edwin Apape's contract is for, but rather than doing all of his burkery, the chairman should be signing him up to a contract as long as Junior and Sembers, because when the PNG team comes into the NRL, the first player they're going to look at Super League and think we've got to have him is Edwin Apape, because he has been superb throughout his time at Leigh, starting in the Championship and has shown it last year in the Challenge Cup and has shown it this year and showed it in that semi-final again. When he's fit, is he the best 9 in the competition? Possibly so.
I think the greatest thing, apart from the fact that he's an endless dynamo, the pass that he threw out for Gareth O'Brien's try was astonishing. Because again, we only have the benefit of watching it on television. I don't know what it looked like live, but I didn't pick out Gareth O'Brien's run because he wasn't in the frame. So you saw that there was support that was covered coming on his inside. To be breaking clear at that speed, to look both sides, to then have the skill and ability to miss a player and hit the guy that's coming on the run that you can't even see. That I audibly gasped when he threw that pass on Friday night, and that was the highlight of the weekend. I think that pass. Well, that and Percival's goal off the touchline.
It's the kind of thing where if it had been done in the NFL, it would be the biggest thing on the BBC website this afternoon.
Well, we had Williams' pass to Ashton, we had Ipape's pass to O'Brien, we had Percival's kick off the touchline. If they aren't 3 iconic memes or clips for X or whatever we're supposed to call it these days, social media generally, I don't know what it is. That's surely how you sell the sport to new young audiences.
We're still probably going to dig out Rangy Chaser's thing from behind his back again from how many years ago.
It was brilliant. It was honestly, it was sensational.
So Leigh will travel to Wigan. Battle of the Borough is a terrible name. It's a derby because they're from the same place.
The biggest battle of the borough this year, presumably.
And Hull KR versus Warrington on Friday.
Which, of the two games, in terms of atmosphere, Hull KR Warrington is like, cancel whatever your plans are on Friday. If you can't get there because it's sold out, sit down in front of a telly and watch it. And the one thing we do know is 3 teams out of the 4 have never won this competition. One of them is going to get to the final, which again, we saw, what was it, the stat that came out this week, that the ticket sales already for Old Trafford are 65,000. It's going to be a minimum, the highest attendance for the last 6 years. It doesn't include the year where nobody was allowed in. which is fantastic. And that's before either Warrington or Hull KR fans know that their team is going to be in the final. And we will be able to talk, when you go to the press conference on Monday, you'll be talking about potential new name on the trophy.
Pressure, especially if it's one of those three teams, which is the one that are away at Hull KR on Friday.
But it's whatever happens with Hull KR and Warrington, it's a great story for the final.
It's I was looking at this because I thought we do beat ourselves up about this, but at least we're not Scottish football where no one's won it since 1984 or something. So at least we got that on our side.
Absolutely.
It's our year, says Carson. Don't say that. Should I say that too? If it is next week.
Well,
when Mark asked Steve Price a couple of years ago.
I suppose the big debate, if there is a debate, and the news story that came out this week is Elliot Minchella can't play because his ban was upheld, and some people who've been asked about how they think the game is going to go are saying it's a real blow for Hull KR. Well, clearly he's been an exceptional player this year, but I'm not sure it's as big a blow. I think Hull KR are more than one player. You might say, oh yeah, but if you're talking about Mikey Lewis and he wasn't there, it would make a huge difference. You would, but I just think Hull KR can cover with the work rate of people like Dean Hadley what Elliot Minchella brings to that team. They'll want him if they get through to the final, clearly. He's incredibly highly respected, and that's why they made him captain. But I don't think his absence is going to be the reason why they win or lose this game. In the same way that Melbourne have lost Nelson Asafa Solomona for the NRL Grand Final, which again, if you can't get excited about watching Melbourne and Penrith on
something in the
9:30 on Sunday morning.
Adrian Morley-esque getting sin binned in the first, apart from, it's playoffs, so it can't be a red card. So,
And, there is so much to look forward to with the women's Grand Final. Again, I find that hard to call, although Saints will start as favourites. Question.
Yeah. Shall I put Paige Travis back on for the people who've missed it? Yeah. Go on.
Grand Finals.
Yes. I'm hoping to be at all three. I've got to remember to email.
Should they always be on a neutral ground?
Well, they should.
Just for a sense of occasion.
Yeah. Is it a logistical thing with the women's? Or should they...
No,
should it be at the point now where we say...
I mean, if Wakefield win their semi-final, they already know they are at home in the Championship Grand Final. No, they've earned that right.
The game which has nothing riding on it whatsoever bar a trophy.
But should we not be saying in terms of that... The one thing we know about going to Old Trafford, because we've been every year, is that excitement as you pull into the ground and all of the fans are there and you walk through the tunnel to get to your,
bloody
wherever.
air horns. Yeah.
Isn't it great? Doesn't it feel like such a special occasion under the lights at Old? Forget all of the issues with Old Trafford as a ground. All of the grand finals we've been to, there's been that huge excitement because you only come here once a year, and it's like going to Wembley, isn't it? Yeah. The thing that I don't know a lot about football, but I think what's destroyed the FA Cup in some respects is having the semi-finals at the venue where you're going to have the final, because you don't want to go twice in a season. You want to go once. We were interviewing Hull KR and Leigh fans last year. They would not have swapped that experience, win or lose, for going to Wembley. And the travelling down in the car, or meeting at the service station, or going on the train and getting the tube in, and then circulating around Wembley Way, and all of that you cannot replicate on a weekly basis. So to have a grand final, be it Saints women at Saints or Wakefield at Wakefield or whatever it might be, does it need to be on a neutral ground? Does it need to fit? The thing about the Leigh and London women on Sunday,
it was in a neutral.
They played in Birmingham. Yeah. Now, it felt a bit different for them, a bit special.
I've heard people suggest that the Championship Grand Final...
I'll ask our listener anyway.
The Championship Grand Final could be packaged up with the League One playoff promotion nonsense, or as it used to be. There used to be the National League Finals Day, yeah.
Well, and they used to have the National League 3 game. So you could have the National Conference Final.
So you could do that, probably at Headingley, because there's nowhere else and it's perfect.
But
it's in the north.
But the thing about that is, it's now a venue that none of those teams have played at this year.
Yeah.
It makes it a bit special. It's the kind of ground for fans where you've got all the amenities that you want.
The women's grand
Apart
final
from parking.
is it either has to be at the home ground of one of the teams, or it's at Headingley or York or Saints where the other teams don't play, or it's at Old Trafford.
Yeah.
Are we at that point where it has to be at Old Trafford?
Well, again, there's a cost implication, I know, in hiring Old Trafford, but
Well, it's a cost implication at Wembley, and we've got that all day.
logistically, it makes so much. I mean, the one thing about, we're not comparing ourselves with the NRL on Sunday, and if you really want to get up for 4 o'clock in the morning and watch it all, you can.
The national thing, yeah.
They've got the Queensland Cup winners against the New South Wales Cup winners. They've got the women's grand final, and then they've got the men's grand final. That is a hell of a day out. Now, we should be looking at some point to replicate that, and I think we've proved beyond any doubt that it doesn't damage the pitch. So Sir Alex was wrong.
No, that's why Alex was right. He liked rugby league. It's rugby union he didn't like.
But he didn't want it played on his pitch because he felt it damaged the Old Trafford. I've never seen.
Man United are rubbish now anyway. So.
Never seen a women's game that's damaged the pitch. I think we're at the point where the women should be playing at Old Trafford, and the Championship and possibly League One grand final should be played at somewhere like Headingley.
Well, let's face it, with some of the attendances that have been recorded for this International Women's Rugby Union thing going off in South Africa, which is apparently a rugby union nation, although let's face it, every country apart from America and India and all that, Asia is football country.
Well, New Zealand used to be a rugby union nation, but it isn't anymore.
Yeah. So even if you only had a couple of thousand in Old Trafford before the men's grand final for the women's grand final, it doesn't make any difference. And it will build and build and build.
And the other thing is, if you're going to have it covered by
Sky,
your major broadcaster, you're actually making it easier for them to cover 2 games in one day at the same venue. I mean, it'd be interesting to know what both people who are watching think, because they might be the kind of people that would go to these events or follow the follow these
some people
teams.
are fans of double headers because you have to be in a place for a long time.
Well,
but the World Cup finals in 2013 were both at Old Trafford, and in 2021 2022 were both at Old Trafford.
And you have to make sure that the venue that you're going to has the facilities you need to cater for being there for 5 or 6 hours. But I still think we need to do it. If we can do it at Wembley for the Challenge Cup, I'd like to think we could do it for the men's and women's grand final.
I mean, not to trivialise things, but I still reckon Warrington won't win the grand final this year because World War III will get called. And then it's just like typical, isn't it? They'll go in as favourites and then it's all hell breaks loose. Yeah, maybe.
You are a fan of a team that should be in the Championship grand final.
Which I've no interest in whatsoever.
Who have been brilliant all year at home.
Would I rather got Headingley or Bellevue?
Yeah.
Well, if we're going to win something, yeah.
There's something also about winning it away from home and then coming back home with the trophy and having your fans.
Does Headingley have provision to? Because Old Trafford does, but they don't do it anymore, do they? You don't go up into the stand and get the trophy like you used to. You see Sinfield and Borough holding the trophy, whatever. Yeah. But now it's on the pitch, isn't it?
Yeah. Well,
can you do that at Headingley? Can you go up into the stands even though you probably don't do it anymore?
You could, yeah.
I don't like giving the trophy on the pitch. I prefer going up to the Royal Box. It feels right.
Getting scarves on the way up, putting your hat on.
Well, I don't think we've got a Royal Box at Bellevue yet. It's probably named after Matt Ellis because everyone loves him.
They're named after Max Jow if he gets the 500 points.
500 points. What's the next unassailable record?
Well, that's it.
Yeah, because no one's going to beat the Brian Bevan stuff, are they?
No. Nobody's going to get 800 tries in a career.
How many tries did Billy Boston get in a season? Was that 60 of the record? Is it Brian
Albert
Bevan?
Rosenfeld, 84.
84.
In about.
Well, less goal are worse than West Wales Raiders.
1913, I think. 14.
We said Matty Aston to play for someone in League One next season. He can go play for Rochdale and score 400 tries. No, it's not going to happen, is it?
I think it might have been 80, but it's
a ridiculous number that's never going to be beaten.
Yeah.
If Martin O'Fiden and he scored 10 in a game.
Well, Ellery, did he get 63 odd for Bradford when he was a young buck?
So there's who do you think is going to win this week, people? I don't know who's going to win. I think it's Warrington Wigan.
Do you?
Yeah.
Do you?
And I don't mean to upset people by predicting that, because I could be completely wrong, because they're all difficult games to call. I think it's difficult to back against Wigan on Saturday.
I think it's difficult to back against Wigan with the week off.
And the fact that they've
And
been in these games, they've won everything.
Yeah.
They've got everything in their cabinet.
And Leigh coming in with some injury doubts. I think the Hull Warrington game is one for the age. But what you tend to find is that sometimes one of the semi-finals is a blowout. But I think Hull will edge Warrington, because I think the one thing they'll have in their advantage is the atmosphere at that stadium. I, having been there for the last home game of the season, that place is ready to explode. And again, I do think the week off to prepare, it's an edge.
And then Hull would have to wear their away kit at Old Trafford.
Well, Penrith are wearing pink this weekend.
Why can't they wear brown? What's a brown? I like brown. Well, brown and purple would be a...
No. So it's purple and pink.
Yeah. It's great being at Warrington Town Hall, welcoming the team hall, said Kevin.
I think that's right.
Well, I don't like those things, don't we? Like it.
I think, again, you need to play away from your ground and then come back and have your civic reception or your...
Open top bus tour around Wakefield. Get it booked, Matt.
All of
Mr.
that kind
Ellis.
of thing. It's not quite the same if it's at your stadium and the bus is in the car park at your stadium and it drives around your stadium.
No, especially now Wakefield bus depot's been condemned. They have to knock it down. As seen on the Jay McDonald documentary. What's going on the thing? Andrew says, Sky Watch show Championship Rugby no more for some strange reason. A, there's no money in it. And B, they're just not interested. There aren't many sports with the second tier on.
It's not that they're not interested. They cannot get a viewership that justifies the cost.
There's not many sports that have the second tier on outside of football.
No. And even we've noticed with football this year that a lot of that now has gone onto a streaming service.
And look at Rugby Union's key thing, the European whatever it's called these days, is on Premier Sport. And we know that no one watches Premier Sport. So could we do more with it? I keep saying clubs can stream these games and make money off it, but they don't do anything because they're not proactive enough. And it's as simple as that.
As less and less money comes from the centre for teams outside of the elite division. Well, it's less for the teams inside, but it's even fewer pounds from as you go down the pyramid. They have to make up that money somehow, and if there isn't a broadcasting deal, there is nothing to stop them streaming.
There's plenty of non-football clubs that stream games week in, week out. We should be learning from them and how they do it. How did the cricket do it all? No one cares about county championship until the final week.
Yorkshire promoted.
But then everyone's forgotten about it.
Yorkshire relegated.
Yeah, everyone's forgotten about the county championship. No one cares.
Well, I quite like it this way.
Yeah. Who's been the best ref this year, says David? Which referees listen to the podcast?
It's really interesting because obviously Jack Smith got one of the games this week. Liam Moore got the other. Would you say they're the leading two? Does that knock Chris Kendall down the order a little bit? If only we had a referee here, we could ask.
Wakefield fans not happy because they think they might get Chris Kendall in the final. That's not what they called him, but you.
I probably think Liam Moore's been our best referee.
Warren Turley, because he does listen.
Well,
he's my friend on Facebook.
Liam
so,
likes it.
Yeah. So.
But we're not biased. But
no. Melbourne 48, Sydney 18.
If he ever comes back on,
yeah.
If he manages to get out of the toilet, we could ask a referee who assesses referees.
Yeah, would he be allowed to? I hope they give them points like the Man of Steel points.
I was going to say, yeah. If you had an Albert Goldthorpe table for referees, you could tell us who's top.
Do they? Is there a referee award at the award? You're at the awards next week. You've been invited now, haven't you?
I've got to iron my bow tie.
Do they have a referee award?
They used to, but I don't think they do. Don't think they do.
Mikey Lewis won the...
We'll know who listens to the podcast next Tuesday.
Yeah.
Because there'll be people who will come up and go, you should not have said that. You go, but you told me you didn't listen.
Yeah. Well, we're not doing podcast is late next week, which is my fault.
We once got in trouble with Wigan, didn't we? That's an awards ceremony. We did.
I can't remember.
Over the Sean Edwards affair.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Somebody took offence to...
is that the year that they didn't give you accreditation?
Our stance on this podcast.
Well, we were right. We were right on that one, weren't we? I can't remember. It was so long ago, but we were right. Sean Edwards not currently the coach of Wigan, is he?
No.
You know what I've noticed from watching the NRL is Mal Meninga's on it. Right?
He is.
Why is Sean Wayne not on the telly all the time? He's England coach. He doesn't have anything else to do. Apart from his ankle.
He's got a bad ankle.
I know. Happy birthday, my ankle, by the way. It's 10 years old this week. That was a depressing time of life. I missed Lance O'Hire's being beaten up by Ben Fryer because I couldn't go to Old Trafford that year because I was in plaster.
It's in Ian Smith's new book because he was the video referee.
That was quite an exciting start to the fight. Shouldn't have been sent off though because you can't send people off in finals, not even for assault. Melbourne 48, Sydney 18, Roosters that is. Dom Young is not in the final now, so he can come over. Maybe we could wait for we could sign him on loan for the playoffs.
What, like Truman?
Like Truman. Penrith Panthers 26, Cronulla Sharks 6, down Cronulla. They're doing the women's grand final. There was, as you said earlier about Nathan Cleary, he's quite good. He's quite good. Is he going to win? I was going to say he's going to win the Golden Boot, but there isn't a Golden. There is a Golden Boot, but it's not a Golden Boot for that. But he would be. He's the best player in the world, isn't he? Or is he?
I think the matchup between him and Munster on Sunday is worth getting out of bed for.
Well, I've got to.
And the good thing is they're all talking about wanting to play International Rugby League in the Pacific Championships as well, which will be on Sky and will be incredibly worth watching.
Marvellous. So that's the men's fight. Who's going to win?
Melbourne.
The women's.
And do you know what the amazing thing about that is? Craig Bellamy. Because he's been coach for 22 years. I don't think they, other than the time when they played a season where they weren't allowed to get any points, always made the playoffs. In 22 seasons, he's made 11 grand finals. That is ridiculous.
Some of them they've been under the salary cap for as well.
I keep dropping my phone because I'm desperate to know who Wakefield has signed.
Yeah, we'll find out in 20 minutes. Andrew says, maybe we should learn from the French clubs who've been streaming their games on YouTube. Yeah, we should.
Absolutely.
So how can they do it and we don't?
Yeah.
Featherstone stream their women's games and then they don't stream them.
If you want to watch what is now called Super 13 in France, there's always at least one or two games on. And Aquitaine are one of the broadcasters. But whether there's any money in that or not, you can see the games. And if you can see it, you can sponsor it, go to the next week's match as a fan. She's absolutely right.
I have enjoyed, as someone who has a vague watching of the NRL, all the former Brisbane teammates of Kevin Walters saying it's a disgrace that Kevin Walters has been sacked by the Brisbane Broncos. Where did they finish in the table?
They didn't make the playoffs.
It's not very good, is it?
Yeah. Well, they'd been in the grand final the year before. So Michael Maguire will be relinquishing his role as.
What, you mean not Brad Arthur or Sam Burgess or whoever else we can click on our website to find out?
New South Wales head coach to take on the team that provides the bulk of the Queensland.
Does that mean Sam Burgess or Brad Arthur might be the next New South Wales coach?
I can't see Sam being it.
Cronulla, though they did beat Brisbane in the women's
They did.
NRLW. Because I don't know why they put the W afterwards. They do it with all their sports. I don't know why. NRL women's.
It's because they inflect up at the end of a sentence.
No, they do, don't they? Sydney Roosters beat Newcastle Knights 25-16. But Georgia Roach Scott, did you see that thing where she wanted to be an ice cream lady?
Yes.
That was good.
It was a great interview.
Her speaking's got a lot better.
Oh,
she's very good.
I think the both of those results were upset wins. But again, it just shows that the talent is shared out amongst the teams, and you've got that uncertainty of outcome. Again, if you do fancy getting up, I think is it on about 6 o'clock the women's game. It will be well worth watching.
Well, I may as well because I've got to get the train to St Helens, so I've got to work out what time I've got to get up for that anyway. And if I miss it, I can listen to the men's grand final on TalkSport too. Because they're going to have the NRL grand final.
I would think that Radio 5 will have it as well on 5 Live Sport Extra.
Well, as I'm being paid by TalkSport to be at St Helens, I should say.
One will have the ABC coverage, one will have the Triple M coverage.
Which is better?
This is
not like the Fox and Channel.
I'll be honest. I am a fan of the ABC coverage. I do listen to it a lot.
It's not like when the people get annoyed that they put Channel 9 on Sky and it's not Fox because they don't like the channel. The people don't like Channel 9, do they? They don't like Channel 9.
There is some.
They don't like Channel 9.
In terms of choice, it wouldn't be their station of choice. I think.
Just Aussies.
I think the ABC coverage has been fantastic this year.
The levels of the NRL have gone up tenfold, says Kevin. Carson says, apart from the West Tigers. They're the one that signed Gareth Ellis back.
Well, they've got Brett Hodgson back now as assistant coach, I think.
Phil says, NSWRL stream all the jersey flag, etc. for £6 a month. Same as the QRL, says Carsten. So
you can make money out of it. To be honest,
are more people interested in the Queensland Cup than the League One.
I watched the Queensland Cup final because Sky showed it. It was fabulous.
So the Queensland Cup winners take on the New South Wales Cup winners. What about Tasmania? What about all the other places?
No,
they're not involved.
No, North Devils take on Newtown, but Newtown beat North Sydney, so you could have had Norths v Norths. That would have been
like Gold versus Widnes.
That would have been confusing for the commentators.
It's Kevin Walters did nothing at Catalan, says Kevin.
Well, it nearly destroyed them.
Thank goodness for Steve McNamara. Do you know what Sam Tompkins is doing next year? He's going to make another documentary.
Somebody said it may have been our good
Too
friend
much swearing
Steve
there,
Brady that he might be playing for Albi.
Ah,
I think it was Albi. Could have been Pia.
Too much. The Donkeys.
The Donkeys.
Too much swearing in that documentary, I'm told.
By whom?
Someone had complained to the director of the documentary there's too much swearing in it. What do they expect? I hope the Wigan ones gave them more swearing in.
So
more swearing.
We laud Rugby League Raw and want that to come back because it was authentic and there was swearing, but we don't want a documentary where they're swearing. Probably shouldn't watch sport if you don't want to hear swearing.
No, especially not the referees in the wheelchair Rugby League. Speaking of the Australians...
speaking of wheelchair Rugby League.
We'll come to that in a moment. Speaking of Australians, it's good to see that they've getting upset about people not wanting to play for Australia when the Australians themselves don't ever want to play. So.
Well, he's
but
reneged.
he wants to play. He wants to play them, yeah.
He's reneged.
Malta beat Italy.
I think the great thing about that is the outcry when he said he didn't want to play
Yeah.
because that shows you now how important international rugby league is being prioritised as.
It's nice. It's a great thing. We can sit here and we can go, well, rugby league is what it is here, but in Australia and in New Zealand and in Papua New Guinea and
in the Pacific,
it's and one day it might go back.
And also Samoa issued a statement this weekend saying that the tour was not delayed in any way whatsoever because of a player's wedding. It was always agreed to start on that date because of the dates of the grand final, and they didn't know who would be in it, and they wouldn't be able to pick their team until they knew who was in it. Clearly, a lot of the Samoan players will now be playing in the grand final. They weren't going. They've got a camp before they come over here. You couldn't do that if you're going to play the week after the grand final.
It's a good job. The women's grand final wasn't this week, wasn't it? Otherwise, York's players would all be buggered because they're all at a wedding, and Shani Crowell as well.
Yes. Good picture that on social media. That.
Congratulations, Kelsey Gentles.
And Mr. Gentles. Was it a bridesmaid?
Yeah.
Was somebody who she's going to be coming up against
this
weekend?
I don't want to get into gender politics. Will she change her name? Will she be double barreled for the final? Will she just be Gentle still? Because she's Kelsey G. That's her trademark. So,
I think she'll be keeping her name.
Should have triple barreled my name. Do regret that now. She said, my wife said we should have triple barreled my name, and I do regret because it would have been. It never would have fit on a credit card or anything.
No. Or the back of a shirt.
No. So that would have been really funny, but didn't do that. I could still do that, but it's just too much hassle.
Yeah. Too much hassle. Administratively.
Yeah. Halifax are in the wheelchair grand final. 3 grand finals, 6 different clubs.
It's good.
Plus, if the PDRL was a Super League, which it's not called Super League, is it? Then it would be 8 in 4 different grand finals. So, Halifax beat London 60 points to 38, which was on the Sportsman in a bizarre old game. I didn't realise Rob Hawkins was still young, which I know sounds bizarre. I didn't realise he was still under 23, which is what the young players are.
He's quick, isn't he?
He's quick.
Goodness me, he was fast in that game.
So when he was announced for the Young Player of the Year award, I was like, is he? I don't know if it's a good thing to look older or not, but and he was there at Leeds in the evening to watch the second semi-final, doing a bit of scouting. But I was a bit disappointed that when Super League put up the graphic after the game, they didn't put him on it and they put Jeremy Borsan on it. I thought they should have put Rob Hawkins, but that's just me.
Well, Borsan has been nominated as potential player of the year.
Which is good for a player who's on loan from Catalan Dragons. Who will he play for in the World Cup Challenge?
And he's going to be playing for France in the big international at the end of the year that we're hyping up.
And the second international in France that we don't know about yet. But now we know there's 8 teams in the Wheelchair Super League next year.
Going up from 5 to 8.
Which I could have told you last week, but we didn't know. So
Well, we did.
we did, but
we just didn't say it.
No.
So we think that 2 of those.
There's some playoffs going on at the moment, isn't there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Might be 2 teams that played each other this weekend.
And another one. Halifax are in the final, 60 points to 38. That was a weird game, wasn't it?
Well, first half it seemed to be all-out attack. It was
38-28 at half time.
The equivalent of sevens that you score, we score.
Louis Smith on the Sportsman didn't have a summariser, you thought. No, it was David Butler who was doing the summariser.
Yes, who linked up as the referee, and you could hear that.
Get that sorted out. We don't need that again. I mean, it was good, but no. Well done, Halifax. Well done, London, on getting to the semi-finals. You would feel sorry for... Right, so the Coach of the Year, there's 4 nominees and there's 5 teams in Super.
Yeah, that doesn't work.
No, it's the Wigan coach who's missed out, isn't it? I think.
Yes.
Yeah, so...
Yeah. Wigan didn't have any nominees.
Apologies to Chris Greenhair, who's not on the list, but we like Wigan anyway. Adam Rigby came up to me after the game, because I spoke to him the week before.
You did?
Said, do you want to speak to me? I said, no, because I don't know what I'm going to ask you, because you've lost the semi-final.
Yep.
I felt awkward, because I'm like, no, I don't want to speak to you. But I didn't mean it in a... And he didn't take it in that way, but... Semi-finals aren't about the teams who lose, are they? That's the thing.
It's the worst place to lose.
What are you going to say? You're going to work harder next year? But Wigan, to do what they've done this... Oh, well, I don't know, we'll come on to Wigan in a minute. Well done to Halifax.
Mm-hmm.
Clubs should get behind them.
Big rivalry in the coming up in the final.
Leeds have been in 5 grand finals.
Out of 5.
56-36 winners over Wigan.
We were there.
We were there.
And
Questioning the coaches. We were saying, what's this James Simpson MBE doing? He doesn't know what he's doing. Where's Josh Butler on the pitch? You're 12-0 down. What's going on? Then he brings him on and they win. So we don't know anything.
He was outstanding.
It's like Nathan Cleary-esque, said at the time.
I did.
That team try, which is, we've retweeted it, is just...
Their first try of the game is as good a rugby as you could see this weekend.
It was a good game, wasn't it?
Well, it was an interesting game because Wigan went 12-0 up early on. Butler came on, completely changed the game. Suddenly Leeds score 32 unanswered points. You think at 32-12 at half time, Leeds are 1 foot in the final. What was it? Quarter of an hour into the second half, it's 32-30.
Yeah.
Butler comes back on. 52-32, and then Leeds are in the final.
8-point try.
Never
Because we still haven't worked out what to call it. It was an 8-point try. Nathan Collins going into the wall.
Pushed into the wall.
Yeah. Although how much he was pushed has been disputed by Wigan, as they want to do.
But chased his
but
own.
Still was given.
Chased his own kick, and as he was about to get to the ball and try and touch it down, pushed in the back. Still managed to touch it down. Hit the wall. 8-point try. 8-point attempted try.
Yeah,
it wasn't
it was
8-point try because he kicked both goals.
What's good is they had to bring in more chairs, to bring in benches. 187 people there, according to the paper, which rivals some of those crowds from that Women's International Rugby Union tournament. So that's good. And the finals on Sky, in Hull. Tickets are £11. I had to edit James Simpson after the game because he thought there might have been a bit less. But £11.
Get 2 games.
Yeah, because you got the thingy, other
Championship
one, national
final
thing. So get down there, and if you can't, watch it on the telly. Day after the men's grand final.
We're going to try and go.
It'll be cracking. I'll be there somehow. Get to Hull. Got a train station, I think.
I'm hoping to go. It's a deadline on the magazine, but
I know.
Hoping to be there.
Otherwise, I'll be on the train. I'll get the train.
Might need to speak to somebody for their column after they've played in that game. So if you're going to speak to them, might as well be there.
Get the train. See what happens. Halifax and Leeds, big rivalry.
They are big rivals.
Close when they met a couple of weeks ago as well. So.
Tough one to call, but again, a great weekend of wheelchair rugby.
Yeah, we've got the. It's going to be good, isn't it? It's going to be all these grand finals coming up. As I say, 6 different clubs involved. We still don't know who's going to be in the men's, but we've got the women's this week, the men's on wheelchair the week after. It's exciting. Mal Meninga is not happy, says Kevin,
with us.
No, with Mr. Ponga, but he's playing now, so it's all right.
Well, he won't get picked now. Now he's made himself available.
It's great, isn't it? We go through all these 27 weeks where sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not good, but now every game does mean something, and now it's great. Who's going to win on Sunday between St Helens and York? Without upsetting... I mean, Kelsey Gentles won't be watching, so that's all right. She's got married.
I think the Saints. They've just been too good this year.
Where's Paige Travis?
I think they've... there's something about them this year that there's a steely determination. And I don't know if this team is going to break up. I think we thought we might have done at the end of last year after they'd played at Wembley.
Well, we know Faye Gaskin's retiring, don't we?
But I think this might be a swan song of some players, and to be Grand Slam winners, to win the trophy at their home ground would be special for them. I still think the final should be at a neutral venue, but
what I should do is I should put Paige Travis next to Kelsey Gentles because she winked in the semi-final.
Yes, she did.
But I'm worried that my painting skills aren't up to getting skin tones right.
They're better than mine.
Yeah, so I'm a bit concerned. So it's a battle of the winkers. That's
how you should sell it.
That's what I'm hoping that. I mean, should I open on TalkSport with that? No, I probably shouldn't. Should I?
Well, I would if you could guarantee that your mind wouldn't make you say something else. That's the end of your
No,
work.
I'm not Nicky Campbell. He'll listen to the podcast now. He searches his name. I've done 20 odd years. I've not sworn on air yet, so no. I could say Battle of the Winkers, but also probably not. I can't go.
No. And it might be misheard by the person in the studio. What did he say?
Thanks, presenter. Welcome to the Totally Wicked Saying for this decider in the Women's Super League Betfred Women's Super League competition. St Helens versus York, a match that's already been described as a battle of the winkers. And
it writes itself.
I can just slip into that mode.
Yeah.
Not done it for a few years.
Do it. Say
it. Kevin Walters sacked. Will he play for Hull FC? Yes, Sandy. Does Richie Mallory's phone number? They're doing a fans forum, aren't they? So
yes, Richie and Adam Pearson.
We just
please buy season tickets.
Yeah,
we won't be as bad.
All those players they've signed from Leigh, send them back. Sign in Pappy and said, pay the money, send them all back. None of them are,
Liam Sutcliffe signed for Huddersfield.
All these transfers that are coming out, we've known about them for months, haven't we? Yeah. And it's like it's all a bit.
Jake Connor to Leeds.
Well, it's
heavily rumoured.
The
word on the streets of Roundhay.
The what's the word I'm looking for?
It's a divisive.
Not redemption.
It's divisive.
But the
I know some people who are avid followers of a team in LS6 that are thinking, is this the right signing for us?
When you obviously I don't drive, but if you go to I'll use the example of a used car salesperson. They would upsell you on how good,
or an estate agent.
An estate agent.
I don't know. Maybe no. Mr. and Mr. Estate agent.
Well, they wouldn't, but these would. If you go to this, we'll use cars. They would sell you this car based on how great it is, and it does this and it does that. But they won't tell you about the faults.
Yeah.
And that's maybe what's happening at the moment with some of the reportage of Jake Connor, making it more palatable to supporters.
Again, it's part of a. It's not a signing on its own. It fits into whatever the plan is. We are not party to the plan.
Well, what we know,
nor should we be.
What we know about Ian Blease at Salford, all the Salford fans seem to be very happy with his signings this year.
Yeah.
Can you get Tim Laff? You want to get Tim Laffey, and he's good. Well, your Saints could probably do with him as well.
It's funny actually because again,
because you haven't stolen enough players from Salford in the last few years.
Isan Masters is moving to Salford.
Mm.
How are they going to fit him and Nenny MacDonald and Tim Laffey into the same team?
Is Nenny MacDonald not homesick yet?
Not yet. I think he's enjoying himself at the moment. But it's interesting that is there still a departure from Salford to come? I don't know.
Carson says, any rumours about Jake Granville coming to Europe?
Yeah, there's a rumour that he is, but we don't know who he's necessarily going to be signing for.
Could be Wakefield in 2 minutes.
Been released by North Queensland.
Carson says, is it healthy for me to leave the Wakefield postcode? I mean, I'm in Leeds. I come to Leeds a lot. I seem to have got away with it so far. So, is there anything else to talk about? Have we done everything? I know we've done less than an hour. But
there's less.
There's less rugby to talk about.
So
we talked about the championship at the start.
We had a great programme downstairs that we didn't record.
We put Tyler Dupree on the adverts for the England Samoa series. Look, not delayed by weddings. It says.
all I would say is last week was wonderful, regenerative. I have a feeling that this week might match it.
Well, let's hope so. Why do people run on the pitch all the time these days? Stop doing that. It's like the degeneration of society after COVID. After we all got stuck inside, now everyone just goes out and does whatever they want. So stop. Mind you, I'd stop players' kids running on the pitch as well. Because it's not as if they don't see them all the time. They live with them and stuff. I assume they live with them.
I must say, Sam Burgess, with his surrounded by a coterie of the youngsters of the other players, was really heartwarming.
Yeah, but see, I'm a cold-hearted bastard, so I don't like these kind
Yeah,
of things.
there is that.
Brenda says, we don't need Jake Connor at Leeds. Brenda's new. Brenda, hello, welcome. It's going to... Whatever happens, it'll be divisive. But then, when he scores the winning try against Wigan in the first round of the competition, then everyone will go, oh, genius move by Ian Blease and Brad Arthur.
I think, again, don't judge a single signing on its own. It's clearly Mikhail Gudimond has been released. There is something happening within how that squad is going to shape up for next year and which pieces of the jigsaw fit together. One piece on its own will not give you the picture.
Rumours are Granville is off to the Giants, says Phil. They're selling the open all-hour shop.
But they've signed Zach Wolford. So I'm not sure they're in the market for a hooker.
I hope his dad has told him to listen to the podcast because he likes us. There was something... Oh, yeah, Michael Lewis won the Rugby League Writers and Broadcasters Award. We don't know if your vote counted, though. That's the worrying thing, because the press release didn't mention Jake Waddle at all.
Which either means it didn't, which is fair enough.
I reckon I can guess who voted for Ollie Leyland. I reckon I could put money. I reckon I could go to. I could take a photo of myself outside Fred's shop across the road and say, "I know who put this on." But I was amused by people getting upset by it, as if anyone cares what we think anyway.
We said last week that we thought that Mikey Lewis would win it. He's been incredibly entertaining. It's interesting, isn't it? We've had Williams, Sneyd, and Lewis, three completely different players who've all had great seasons, and in a dream team, you can only pick two of them.
And then when the Man of Steel shortlist comes out on Wednesday, everyone can get upset about the panel. They can all send Matty Russell joins the train. Was he already there? Was he there the other year? Oh, he was at Leeds on loan, wasn't he? That was it.
Well, for half a game.
How many bloody wingers do we need?
Where are you going to play Josh Rourke, who you signed last week?
Bench. Like Alex Walker. Just...
Good player, Josh Rourke.
Yeah, and whoever else we're signing. Yeah.
Interesting.
I think the problem with all these signings is just people going around in circles, isn't it? And I know we're not supposed to say that, but...
Matty Russell's very, very good at making yardage out the backfield. A bit McGilvray-esque.
Yeah, and now he's gone, so into retirement. I do enjoy all these, because everyone, all these clubs tweet, because it is a meme now, isn't it? Once a rhino, always a rhino. Once Trin, always Trin. And you think, no, actually, no, you're not. No. You did those bad things. You're not on the list. You're not allowed. So that was the breaking news this evening. So
good job we stayed on air long enough to
yeah.
bring it to you.
Still don't understand why there's 5 people on the Wheel of Steel Award, but only 3 on the women's, and there's maybe 3, I'm assuming, on the men's, unless they pick 6.
I would have thought it was a common number, but clearly not.
No. But mysteries. Thanks for watching. Next week's podcast will be on a different day, but I don't know when, because the logistics of me getting back from Old Trafford won't be by 6 o'clock on Monday, so it might be Tuesday or Wednesday, but it won't be Tuesday because you're off to the awards. So it might be Wednesday when you've been to the awards. You should come in with your bow tie on, like they used to do on This Morning with the person we don't name and Holly Willoughby.
I might have had my hair cut.
Yeah, the night after,
stay up all night.
The night after,
drinking champagne.
You used to pretend
with
to
the
be
winners.
drunk. Yeah.
And then come in still wearing the monkey suit.
Yeah. So some Leeds people could win awards, couldn't they? Because I'm up for the wheelchair and the women's. So, although if Faye Gaskin doesn't win the Woman of Steel award, I might actually come down to the Royal Armouries and riot. And that's no disrespect.
Run on the pitch.
Yeah, that's no disrespect to Georgie Hetherington or Lucy Murray, but just my opinion. So we'll be back next week at some point, which means you might get 2 podcasts next week.
But we'll also, hopefully, giving enough time for the man who used to
to
wear
get
the
better,
referee shirt to get better and come back.
No one called him iconic when he retired, did they? Or a legend? It's a bit unfair, isn't it?
No.
Surely James Charles iconic. Anyway,
I'm sure he'll still want to pay tribute to Ben Thaler, even if it's next week.
which chocolate are we going to eat?
Whichever one you want.
Which let's try a bit of chocolate before we go. Which one should we have? Should we go for normal chocolate?
Go on then. And
we'll go for the Valkyrie. We'll go for
enjoy your rugby league.
We'll go for the Valkyrie chocolate.
Yes, because they're in the final
They're
this
in the
week.
final.
The least we should do is eat them.
Oh, broken it now. There you go.
I'll have a slice of Kelsey Gentles. I don't think you can say that, can you?
No, probably not.
Proper chocolate.
That's nice. Proper chocolate. I've messed it up now. Right, we're going to eat some chocolate. Thanks for listening. And we'll see you next week.
Keep the wrapper.
Keep the wrapper.
Eat the chocolate.
Ta-ra. Oh, I'm going to press the wrong button.